undocumented
I,
migrants. That's what I just
I,
said.
yeah, but I don't think that anyone has a problem with people that are coming in
Whoa,
and
whoa, whoa, whoa! You're pivoting. Admit that you were wrong about undocumented migrants not increasing GDP growth. Admit that you
okay,
were wrong by saying that.
I'll admit referring to GDP that I was wrong on that
There you
point.
go. There you go.
Um, but I would like to say that I do think that when we go and I personally live in San Diego, and so I saw a lot of the effects that it was having, especially on some of my black friends, where they weren't getting some of the welfare, some of the government assistance that they should have been getting in school when there were a bunch of immigrants coming in to the country, and I think taking some of those.
You're wrong. There's
What?
not a single federal program that undocumented migrants benefit from.
Oh God, Jesus Christ.
Um,
Okay, I just want to let you know, immigrants provide more to the economy than they take from it. So no one's losing on social programs because of that. Also, if you're
Yeah.
going to say that social programs disproportionately impact people of color, well then why do you support like the Republican politicians that actively advocate against those social programs?
Because I don't think that most of them do advocate again. Could you give me an example of some of the social programs that, besides, because I think the
Donald
DEI is
Right,
Trump
one of the,
literally
Department of Education, right? We can talk about Medicare. We can talk about
food
Medicaid,
yep.
Social
stamps,
Security,
food
food stamps,
stamps.
free lunch for students. We can talk about anything. Do you want
Yeah. So answer and respond to what Parker just said, and then tell me what social benefits benefit undocumented migrants.
So some of the ones that
No,
I
no,
would
no.
definitely
Respond to Parker first.
I am. I'm
Okay.
referring. I saw some of the housing that went up, especially as more undocumented migrants came into the country, and that was
wrong?
the main thing I was.
Wrong.
Wrong. Wrong.
Because
They're telling me
Undocumented.
that.
because
I think
undocumented immigrants increase the labor force, which then creates a more productive economy, which leads to lower prices for particular goods that are produced in the United States, right? I.e., right, going to be houses because there's going to be a greater supply of houses built.
also, I just want to put it out. What percentage
What?
of undocumented migrants would you guess buy houses?
The buy houses? I'm not sure about that, but I'm referring to rent in specific because they were basically priced out because a bunch of immigrants were getting government government money that some of my
They
friends.
don't. They
Asylum
don't. They
seekers,
don't.
wait, legal asylum seekers were getting state policies. You don't disagree with legal immigrants getting social policies, do you?
Legal immigrants, but I would disagree with
Yeah, okay,
asylum seekers.
wait. Asylum seekers are legal immigrants.
I disagree with that because I think that
What?
most of that
What?
Wait, you're just objectively
Dude,
wrong. Wait. You're
no no no
objectively
no
wrong. No, no, no,
I'm
no, no,
not
no, 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 no,
saying
no, 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 no,
legally.
no. Stop. You're objectively wrong. Asylum seeking is
oh
a
God.
legal, documented way of entry into America. Stop lying, okay? If you
No,
are an
I'm not
asylum
lying.
seeker,
You
you are
are.
documented and you have court dates for your processing, and you're legally allowed to stay in America and have access to social benefits while you need it, okay? Undocumented migrants are not asylum seekers, and asylum seekers are not undocumented migrants. So tell me what social benefits give undocumented migrants money.
From the government checks that I saw some
From
of
what
the
program?
people.
From what program?
I'm not sure exactly
Because it
what
doesn't
program.
exist.
It does exist because I
No, it
saw it with
doesn't.
my
Give me
own two
evidence.
eyes.
Give me evidence. Give me evidence. Please give me a source right now. It does not exist. The only federal benefits that undocumented migrants receive is access to emergency resources in hospitals per humanitarian act passed under passed under Obama and Biden in 2015. Okay, that is the only federal benefit that undocumented migrants receive anywhere, at any point, at any time. They do not qualify for any other services. Medicare, nope. Medicaid, nope. Food stamps, nope. EBT, nope. Social Security, nope. You have to be documented in order to have access to those benefits. Undocumented migrants do not qualify for any of them. You will
I
never be able to find a source anywhere on the internet
Dean,
that says anything different.
Dean, I have
yeah,
to,
and it's ended up claiming.
I have to stop this conversation real quick. This person in the comment section said that I'm not American. Hello?
Yeah, you're not American.
How am I not American?
You're not a Moor.
What?
You're not a Moor. You're a European hybrid.
Yo, slow down. Tell us what that means. Because we don't know what that means.
I know you don't.
So explain it to us.
I want you to go research it.
Nah, you just
Like you research everything else.
you've obviously researched it for us. So what do you mean?
No, I'm not gonna do your research. You do it.
Okay, so then you're gonna come up here, speak gibberish, and then leave it at that. Got it.
I'm confused. Why do you say that I'm not American? What is an? Can you tell me what an American is?
Where your people from?
Tell us what an American is.
Iowa.
You sure?
Positive.
Can you tell us what an American is?
I told you.
No.
If you're not Moorish American, you're not American.
Define American.
What? Can you tell me what American means? And bro, like, I don't. Is that? I don't think that terminology is acceptable. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that terminology is not acceptable.
I don't
Savage,
even
thank
know
you
what-
for $2
I
and
don't
Faye.
know
Thank you
what
for the
that word
$5.
is.
Thank you so much.
Also, Traceless and Tobias, thank you both for the $10 over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you, guys. So, define American?
Noble Drew Ali.
Okay. All right. We're just gonna. What the fuck just happened? Irokis, thank you so much. I appreciate the
Moorish.
$10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the Supreme Court just stayed the
What?
stayed the midnight deadline for the Trump administration to have El Salvador return person wrongfully deported.
Okay, I found I found some information on this. So,
That's good news then, isn't it? That's good.
the Moorish Science Temple of America, founded by Noble Drew Ali, which teaches that African Americans are of Moorish descent and have a distinct national identity. This organization, founded in the 20th century, teaches that African Americans are of Moorish descent, specifically of the Moroccan Empire and surrounding areas in Northwest Africa. The founder of the Moorish Science Temple, Noble Drew Ali, is considered the prophet of the movement, as identified by God.
Okay, is it like a cult?
I don't know. The Moorish Scientific Temple teaches that African Americans are Moorish in origin and have a distinct national identity. They're taught to live by the divine principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and they identify as a branch of Islam.
Oh, okay.
They're
Plausible.
they,
Thank you for the 10 Canadian. Thank you so much for Happy B-Day. Thank you so much.
they adhere to sovereign citizen beliefs, which often involve claims of legal immunity from U.S. laws.
As well as Chance, thank you so much for the $50 YouTube super chat for Trump golfs while the stock markets crash. And Parker's here working on his video. Thank you so much, Chance. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Give some W's for Chance in the comment section right now.
Oh, happy birthday, by the way, Potter.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, so what were you arguing? I apologize for cutting off the conversation.
I don't remember. That was a crazy rant.
Okay.
I just
All
heard
right,
about
let me
that
make
back.
sure to thank some people real quick. Michaela, thank you for the $2.23. Ashlyn, thank you so much for the $5. Thank you. Richard, thank you so much for the $15.88. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Isabel, thank you so much. I really appreciate the dollar. Thank you. They said happy B-Day. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the kind words. Thank you. All right, go ahead. You can you give me like the main reason why you voted Donald Trump? Is that possible?
The main reason I voted for Donald Trump, honestly, was because of some of the corruption that I saw within the Democratic Party. One of my uncles was actually campaigning for Democrats over in San Francisco, and I kind of saw the corruption and the just the general malpractice that was going on within the Democratic Party. So that was one of the main reasons.
Malpractice? Can you give me an example?
Like for example, some of the DOGE spendings. The other thing with
Can you give me
DEI.
what part of the DOGE spending? Like what specifically did DOGE identify as waste spending that you think is bad, that Democrats were pushing for?
I definitely think some of the ideology.
Ideology is not spinning.
I know I'm getting there. I'm saying like trans ideology in foreign countries.
Wait,
That's
so
the main one that I
wait
saw.
to clarify, do you think that they were like making mice trans?
No, I don't. I think that was an exaggeration, but I
An
do think that
exaggeration? Just call it a lie.
I did think it was an exaggeration because it was a
Just call it a
documented
lie.
study. It wasn't a lie though. It was a documented study that went on that I don't think should have gone on, but they.
What do you mean they're doing transgender operations on mice? What does that even mean?
Well, I don't know. They found it, so it's obviously.
Doge lies all the
Mice
time.
can't be trans.
What evidence you guys have that DOGE is an untrustworthy source and has already lied?
Great question, and I can answer.
Yeah.
The New York Times spent months investigating their reported quote unquote cuts as seen on doge.gov, and they found that their top 10 contracts on their website, their biggest contracts that they supposedly cut, were all wrong and they were all falsely reporting lies. Okay, now I understand if you want to sit here and say, well, the New York Times is a biased organization and it's possible that they didn't have any evidence for their claims. Well, guess what? After the New York Times made this reporting and debunked the 10 top contracts on Doge's website, do you know what Doge did?
I'm not sure. No.
They took the top 10 contracts off their website. They removed any and all contracts off of their website that the New York Times reported as being false. All right. And the New York Times has continued to report more and more of their contracts as being false since then. And they've continued to take more and more of those contracts down. And then also about Social Security benefits going to like incredibly old people, like people like 200 years old. The director of Social Security came out and told America that that wasn't happening. Okay, man? So it's bad. It is really bad. They are the furthest thing away from ever being trustworthy. And also, Jeremy, thank you for the $20 super chat over on YouTube saying, what's up, Dean? Keep cooking them, brother. I'll never stop, Jeremy. Thank you so much for the love.
Tobias, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Parker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Don't worry. Thank you. As well as Kathleen, thank you so much for the $20 for happy birthday, Parker. Thank you so much on Venmo. I really appreciate it. Doll, thank you so much for the $5. Doll, thank you for the $5 again. Lillian, thank you so much for the $5. Really appreciate that. Amanda with the $50. Thank you so much for happy birthday. Love watching your lives. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Amanda. Let's get some W's for Amanda in the comment section.
So basically, you're saying though that because a couple of the things have been removed from the Doge website, that makes them untrustworthy.
Plenty of the things were wrong.
Yeah,
Callie, thank you
what
so much
makes
for
them
$15.
untrustworthy is that they reported false information. My evidence that they reported a shit ton of false information was because they got called out for it, then like swept it under the rug.
I haven't researched that personally, but even if I do grant that, did you guys trust the last government with your money and would say that they were going in a positive direction with as far as
Yes.
taxes?
Yes.
You
Wait,
do?
wait. As far as taxes? Oh, I
Yeah,
mean,
as far as lowering taxes
is
and
in a positive direction in an ideological sense, insofar as a comparative analysis between Kamala Harris's proposed tax plan and Donald Trump's, absolutely night and day.
Also, yeah, the
what would
Biden-Harris
the evidence be
administration,
for that?
I would definitely take over the Trump administration any day of the week.
Brian, thank you for the 14 Canadian
What
dollars. I'm
what
sorry
what
that I
evidence
missed
do you have
that.
of that though?
What evidence do we have? The Chips and Science Act, the PACT Act, the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill, the American Rescue Plan.
So you're saying that all of those were actually working and having positive impacts on taxes because
On taxes? Wait. On
Wait,
taxes?
are you saying that taxes were bad under the Biden-Harris administration?
I would say yes, yeah.
You know whose plan of taxes that was?
For which plan?
Wait. Would
It
you
was
ever vote?
It was Donald Trump's tax plan. I'm sorry, I have to clarify. It was Donald Trump's tax plan, and you said it was a bad tax plan. So blame Donald Trump.
How is it Donald Trump's tax plan if it
The Tax Cuts and
was
Jobs Act was in effect well throughout 2025.
Parker, you're wrong. It
Well,
actually
2025.
no, you're wrong, Parker. It expired in 2020. Not my name. You're actually right on this point, Parker. We just concede real quick. Admit that you're wrong. I'm not even joking. See,
So
unlike
wrong.
unlike a lot of Republicans, not my name. I like to call out people that follow my side of the aisle when they're spewing incorrect information. So what he's saying is incorrect. It is a case when Biden and Harris assumed office, they actually changed the tax code through the American Rescue Plan. A lot of people will say that it was Donald Trump's tax cuts extended until 2025, but that's just straight up a lie. It's propaganda. And I'm not even kidding. I do disagree with the Democratic Party sometimes. But I guess my question to you would be, would you ever vote for the Biden-Harris tax plan again?
I would not know.
Okay, well, I just gaslit you. Parker was right. You just told us that you never vote for Donald Trump's tax plan again.
I didn't vote specifically for Donald Trump's tax plan. And I do get what you're saying, but that's not.
Oh, dude, that's so rough, dude. That was
And
so
also,
rough, man.
Donald Trump tax policies are still being developed and put into place. And I feel like as soon as they finish all the current things that they're doing with reducing spending.
You're such a shill. You're such a shill.
Dude, you're such a
when you
cult
call,
member.
when
Such
you
a cult
call,
member.
when I call this identical tax policy, Biden and Harris's, bad, you never vote for
Bad,
it
No,
again.
you got
horrible.
me.
I've never seen something
me.
worse than that. I promise you, it's so bad,
But
incredibly
then-
bad.
But then when it's called Trump's tax plan, it's good. It's getting work done, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be
It's
great.
gonna be great. I promise.
I can't do this, you guys. I can't do it. I can't do it. You're a part of a cult.
I would disagree that I'm part of a cult, because I'm actually an independent that voted for Trump. I just believe that what Trump was going for was more toward the independents than what was going on with the
I'm
Democratic
sorry.
Party.
Do you remember what happened in 2021?
With in regard to what with the January 6th?
6th? Like, do you remember what happened with Donald Trump undermining the 2020 election? Do you remember Donald Trump calling for the termination of all articles, rules, regulations, and even those found in the Constitution? Or
Okay.
what about him being held civilly liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll, saying you dated a 10-year-old girl in 10 years, bragging about walking in the changing rooms of girls in Miss USA because he quote-unquote owns the place to inspect them without their consent, passing tax policy that disproportionately cut taxes for people who are literally very rich, while just recently passing the largest tax increase in U.S. history, right?
Okay,
Which disenfranchises low and middle income individuals, particularly because it decreases access to jobs, right? And because it is the case that it's going to lead to lower wages, and because it is going to be the case that it's going to lead to again Americans paying more for consumer products.
Okay, so you just made a lot of claims there, but I do want to go based on one claim that you made, which is, do you guys currently believe that Donald Trump was actually a convicted felon and that
Yes.
there wasn't any bias in the jury or anything like that?
There's bias with every human being that exists,
There's
but the
bias
reason
in
why
every
we have a
jury, too.
jury process is to reduce that bias.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean,
do you
like,
accept jury process in typical?
Juries are biased against people because of their sex, because of their race, because of
Mm-hmm.
their presence or absence of tattoos, because of their conventional attractiveness, because of their height. And we see this play out all the time. The goal of jury selection isn't to try to choose people that aren't biased. The goal of jury selection is to try to choose people that can set that bias aside and operate off of the facts as presented in the case. And because Donald Trump's billionaire lawyers helped choose the jury, I'm led to believe that we have no reason to doubt without evidence that the jury operated off of bias compared to preponderance of reason and fact. I merely ask you if you do think that the jury was biased and ruled incorrectly either in the criminal or civil court that I'm liable for grape or convicted of him of 34 felonies. I'd ask you to detail to us how the jury had bias by describing the evidence submitted to the jury and depicting how it was insufficient to prove Trump was guilty.
And which case, in civil or in the other one?
Your choice. You're the one suggesting that there's a bias in the jury. You weren't clear about if it was a civil or criminal proceedings, so you gotta tell us which one.
The reason why I do think that there was a little bit of bias within the civil case specifically was because the jury was mainly going off the news of what was currently going on in the United
So there's
States.
bias in the civil case. So then you'd agree if the jury for the grape case was biased, this means that they called Trump guilty when there wasn't enough evidence shown to them to describe and prove that Trump was guilty, right?
Wait, repeat that.
So
I didn't
if the jury in the civil case was biased, all this means is that they ruled he was guilty without enough evidence.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you agree that all the evidence submitted to them is public record?
I think all of it public record.
Yeah. So would you be able then to describe the evidence submitted to them and argue that it was insufficient?
Yeah.
Can you just name one piece of evidence submitted to the jury?
Well, I'm not personally familiar with all
I
that.
personally did zero research,
So
and
then
yet
you
I'm
don't
still going to
know-
claim that
Well,
it didn't happen.
So then you have no
Well, that's not why
possible way.
I'm claiming it.
Not my name. That you have no possible way to know that the jury was biased. The only way the jury could be biased was if they ruled he was guilty without enough evidence. The
No.
only way to prove that the jury ruled he was guilty without enough evidence is to demonstrate to us by vocally and explicitly describing the evidence and then arguing how it was insufficient. You can't do that. You can't
That-
even
I
name one
can do
piece of
that, actually.
evidence.
The reason-
So then you
the-
cannot name that. So then you cannot reason your way to the conclusion that the jury was biased. This is the fifth example that you've given to us of how you are a cult member that doesn't operate off of reason, but rather operates off of vibes, bro.
I feel like calling someone a cult member is pretty ingenuous. But
We gave reason. The reason why we said that you're a cult member is because you're going to say anything and do anything to support Donald Trump, regardless of the
I
facts,
would
reason,
not
evidence
do
against
anything to
him.
support Donald Trump, though. I
You
do
just did. You
disagree.
just did. You just did. There was facts, reason, and evidence against him, and you still decided to believe him.
The reason why I'm saying that there was a bias within the court is because when we look at the United States within that time, there was a lot of, like, for example, with BLM or with some of the COVID policy going on, and it was proven false now. And so you can kind of look at where the news was leading us and how they were censoring certain, like how they were censoring Mark Zuckerberg and stuff like that.
Okay, so you spoke words, but the words didn't make an argument.
So when you say
So
censoring Mark
the
Zuckerberg,
argument,
listen. When you say censoring Mark Zuckerberg, all you're talking about is that the federal government, the Biden-Harris administration, literally just pressured Facebook to take down COVID misinformation.
and the Hunter Biden laptop, which I do think,
Again, we're talking about COVID misinformation. If we're talking about specifically the them pressuring them, that is not against the First Amendment. That's not any type of legal repercussions. It's simply just pressure, right? Or just saying that you should do that. They
no,
they
but
did not have to listen.
they did have to listen though because the
No, they
threats that
didn't.
they were bringing toward Facebook and toward
What
Instagram.
threats?
You can go and watch and go listen to Mark Zuckerberg himself. But
Can I give an argument real quick, Parker?
yeah,
Go ahead.
oh,
Okay. So you believe Mark Zuckerberg, right?
I, I I don't believe everything that he said, but I do believe him. I actually
Did he give any evidence for his claims?
he did give evidence for his
No, he
claims. Yeah.
didn't. Not on the Joe Rogan
I'm
podcast.
not talking about specifically the Joe Rogan podcast,
So
but
then what was the evidence that he gave for his claims?
some of the evidence that he gave for his claim was he showed how he had phone calls with the Biden Harris government, and he showed that he was also censoring a bunch of memes and a bunch of ideologies and things being said. And so, why would he do that if it wasn't because of the Democratic government?
Wait. You said that he showed evidence of phone calls. Where?
I have to pull it up exactly, but I
It
remember
doesn't
seeing
exist. It doesn't exist, man. Pull it up right now.
you're saying that there's no phone calls
No,
evidence
there's no
that
evidence.
he
There's no
posted.
evidence that he he never shared any evidence.
I
He
don't believe
believes
that. I
Mark
have to look it up.
Zuckerberg because Mark Zuckerberg
And
is
that's
man that's rich.
that's
He
my
doesn't
point.
believe
don't
Eugene Carroll because
actually.
Eugene Carroll is a woman.
And that's my
I'm
point.
not saying that either.
That's exactly what I was going to get to is the fact that you believe Mark Zuckerberg with no evidence, but then you
I
don't believe Eugene Carroll with enough evidence
I'm
to
not
convince a
saying that I
court of
don't
law.
believe Eugene Carroll.
Okay, so then you do believe Trump's a rapist.
No, I'm not saying that either. I'm saying that you can have.
Wait. So which one is it? Is Trump a rapist or is Trump not a rapist?
I don't personally know because I don't personally know
Oh,
the man, but
you have
I'm
no clue.
saying
Oh,
that
wait.
when
Are
you
you a
listen,
Christian? Are you a Christian?
I am a Christian, yeah.
Okay, so you think that there's more evidence for Jesus resurrecting than there is evidence that Donald Trump is a rapist?
There's more evidence for his resurrection than Donald Trump. Yeah.
Oh, okay. No, there's fucking not. What a joke.
There's absolutely more evidence that that Eugene Carroll was assaulted comparative to Jesus rising from the dead. Right. The accounts for Jesus rising from the dead. You're talking about decades after the point in which Jesus died, in which you would have accounts of people claiming they heard a story passed down word of mouth. Right. You're not talking about first person accounts.
So would you say that Jesus is a liar, Lord, or lunatic?
What?
So when you go to disprove the point of him not being resurrected, you have to call him either a liar, Lord, or lunatic. So which one would you guys claim he is?
I don't have to claim any of them.
Then you can't disprove it because there's so much documented evidence
Why can't wait? Where did Jesus claim he's God?
where did Jesus claim he's
Yeah,
God?
I want you to tell me where you think that Jesus claimed he's God.
Yeah, let's go.
He does in the Bible, like as well as
In the Bible,
there's more,
so the evidence that he claimed that is in the Bible, and that's 20 years, again, plus after the point where Jesus died. So you have less evidence to believe that happened than you have to believe that Eugene Carroll, the first person account of her being assaulted, happened. Again, so why do you accept any of those things in the Bible, given that you don't accept Eugene Carroll?
By
I'm
the
not
way,
saying
just
I
for,
don't
like,
accept
just-
Eugene Carroll. I'm just saying I can't make.
Eugene Carroll.
By the
Sorry,
way,
I
just for
apologize.
the Christian liberals watching. By the way, we're not shitting on the religion. We're just simply stating the obvious objective truth. There's more evidence for E. Jean Carroll getting raped, and now that is an issue that we're presenting to this guy.
Yeah, I respect that. But I would say the reason why we can, I don't know why we're going into the resurrection. But there's a lot of evidence in the Bible and in the Quran and that it basically documents that it was true, and it's really,
Did you
I don't
just
know
give contradictory sources of information?
Oh
what.
Jesus.
So your Christian beliefs contradict the teachings of the Quran.
Not all of them, but I do think that you can get
Not
teachings
all of
from
them.
other.
Okay, yeah. Not all of them. I never said that.
I do believe that there are contradictions in the Bible, but I don't think that makes the Bible a illegitimate source.
Oh no, hey man, have I
What,
told you?
okay, what contradictions do you think exist in the Bible?
One of the main ones that I personally disagree with is the genocides, as well as so,
Ugh.
some of the things that I'm a little iffy with, as well as
Okay, I just want to
on
clarify. Is the Bible divinely inspired?
I would say yeah.
Okay, how could something that's divinely inspired have any flaws if it came from a perfect being?
Because it didn't come from a perfect being, it came from humans. And so I think whenever you have humans writing, they didn't write the Bible, but it was divinely inspired. But when you have humans in anything, they're going to be imperfect. And so that's what I would say on that.
Okay, so then here'd be my question. Then
Mhm.
again, why is it the case that you accept the evidence portrayed in the context of the Bible, but you don't accept Eugene Carroll? Like
Well, the reason
her
I don't,
evidence provided.
I'm not saying that I don't accept Eugene Carroll specifically. I'm
Eugene.
just saying I wouldn't, sorry, I'm just saying that I wouldn't personally make claims about another man or woman without more context. For example, if
You
someone,
like a civil liability, right? Where he unanimously determined by a jury that he was sexually abused a woman.
the reason why I
That's not
personally
enough
wouldn't,
evidence for you? I'm sorry. You wouldn't would you let someone like that around your children? Someone held civilly liable of sexually abusing a woman unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people? Would you let them take care of your children? Would you let them be their gym teacher? Would you
if
let them
if I knew it for a fact, I would not let them around my children. But I'm
Okay,
saying I don't
so
know
then
for
why
a
would
fact.
you do, you do? I just told you. You can look up the evidence. He was held civilly liable unanimously amongst a jury of 9 people.
So then, why wouldn't he go to jail? Why wouldn't he be convicted?
Because it's past the statute of limitations in the context of criminal courts because it's only 5 years for New York, right? For criminal courts.
So you're saying just because of that statute of limitation, there wasn't any? Then why wouldn't
Yeah,
there
so
be other?
regardless of the amount of evidence, they were not able to try it in a criminal court.
So you're saying that there was nothing that they could have done if they all truly believed that he was convicted of the crime?
I'm confused what your question is saying.
I'm basically saying that why would they not do more if they actually found out that he did do what you guys are claiming he did? Why would they not do more
Because of the
to?
statute of limitations. Do you know what a statute of limitations is?
Yeah, yes, I do understand the
It
statute of
means after
limitations,
this
but then
after this certain amount of years, right? It restricts you from being able to try them regardless of the amount of evidence.
yeah,
Can you
I
name one
understand.
piece of evidence that the jury used to hold Trump liable for raping E. Jean Carroll?
The evidence that I have based upon is that the government was had a large amount of corruption in 2021 as
Bro,
well as the
shut
news
up.
sources.
Shut up. Wow, dude. Holy pivot. You broke my
But
neck. I need a brace now. Saying that the government had a lot of corruption is not telling me one piece of evidence that this private citizen
well, it
submitted to
leads to
civil
why
court
the
to hold
jury
Trump
was
liable.
biased and
No,
why I
shut
believe.
up. Oh my god. Okay, repeat after me. I'm being serious. I literally
Okay, yeah,
want you to
yeah,
repeat after me. Can
yeah.
you name Wait, sorry. Let's restart. Can I name Say it. Can I name
Yeah. Can I name
one piece of evidence
one piece of evidence?
that E. Jean Carroll submitted
What are you making me? The Eugene Carroll submitted
to the civil court
to the civil court
that held Trump liable for raping her?
that held Trump liable for raping her, and um, yeah, I can. One of the main things that I would go based upon is that there were 25 women who publicly accused Trump of sexual misconduct,
Dude,
including.
dude. Holy
What?
shit.
I'm getting to my
Wow,
evidence.
I am about to lose my shit.
Okay.
Holy fuck.
So I'm getting to
Holy
my evidence.
fuck.
But
Name one piece of evidence that was recorded inside of the court documents that the jury used to hold Trump liable for rape in the court
I'm
case
not
of E. Jean
claiming
Carroll
that
versus Donald
it
J.
was in
Trump.
the court documents. I'm talking
So
about the bias of the jury.
that's what I'm asking you about. The evidence she gave to the jury that led the jury to the ruling. Can you name one piece of that?
I'm naming it for you right now. I'm talking about the corruption
Do
that
it.
was going on in the government and the news bias, which
Are you
led
sentient? Are you
Donald.
sentient? Are you sentient? Are you fucking sentient? Holy fuck. Okay, okay. We're gonna try the question this way. Repeat after me. Repeat after me. Repeat after me.
I
Repeat
heard
after
what
me.
you said,
No, no,
and
no, no, no,
I'm
no,
not
no,
claiming that there's a
no, no, no,
problem
no,
with
no,
the
no, no,
court
no, no, no,
documents.
no, 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 no. Repeat after me. Can I name?
I'm not repeating after you because
Oh God. Oh
I
my
already said
God.
it, and
Do it. Just do it. Just do it.
Oh,
Just do it.
say, can
Just do
you
it. Just do it. Just do
see
it. Just do
by
it.
the dawn's
Repeat after
early
me.
light?
Repeat after me. Can I name?
I'm not repeating after you again.
God damn it! Listen. Can I name?
But yeah, the reason why I'm saying that I'm not
This
quite
makes me
sure.
proud to be an American.
Oh my God! It makes me want to gouge my fucking eyes out, Parker. That's what it makes me want to do.
I'm asking why you
Ugh.
guys, as Americans, as
Okay,
human
okay,
beings,
okay,
are.
okay. We're gonna try one last time.
Oh my God.
Okay, Dean Withers is asking, not my name, the following question. Quote,
Mhm.
can you name one piece of evidence that E. Jean Carroll and her lawyers submitted to the civil court that the jury then used to hold him liable for sexually abusing her?
You're mis.
The evidence will be listed inside of the court documents.
I'm not making that claim. You keep putting those words in my mouth. I'm
I'm
not.
not responding to a claim you're making. I'm asking you a question.
And
I'm
I've already
proud to be an American.
Okay, let's try it this way. There's only two possible answers, okay? The first answer is yes, and the second answer is no, okay? So this is a yes or no question. So start your answer by either saying yes or start your answer by saying no, and then feel free to expand, all right?
Okay,
The
go
question
ahead.
is, can you name a single piece of evidence that E. Jean Carroll submitted to the jury that the jury then used to hold Trump
And I
liable
already
for
said
gravity?
no. I cannot. I physically
Right,
cannot. And I'm not
right.
claiming.
Good.
And that's not my claim.
Thank
I'm
you.
claiming that there was a
Thank you.
bias.
Thank you so much for answering the question. So, if you don't know any of the evidence to indicate the claim that Donald Trump
I
raped E.
gave
Jean
you my
Carroll is
evidence.
true,
But anyway, I gave you the evidence basically, and that
All right, let's have a little bit of an intermission real quick. Plausible, thank you so much for the 10 Canadian. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Econo, thank you so much. Oh, they want me to get rid of you for they said they find you uncomfortable.
they find me
Or be
uncomfortable.
unavailable to some audiences. Do you have any other account, Dean?
I don't know. I'll look.
Okay, thank you. Because it will restrict the live, and actually the live has 5K, so it's doing decent. But can we say, Econo, thank you so much for the $50. Thank you so much, Econo. I really appreciate it. Thank you. W's for Econo in the chat for happy birthday, Parker. I'm a 4'8" baby myself. Happy early birthday. And awesome celebrating my baby with you these last few years. I've been a fan since your God debates. Yes, I know. I've seen you around. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Econo. KA, thank you for the $20 for happy birthday, Parker. My birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. April birthdays are the best. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. April birthdays. Honestly. Jennifer, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Jennifer, thank you. Warmy, thank you so much for the $5. I know, great question. Am I right? Let's see if Dean did send another request on a separate account. Okay, well, I don't see it right now. So here, I have a question on my name. Can I ask you a few questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Like it's gonna relate to like the markets, man. In terms of
The
Donald
what?
Trump, yeah, it's gonna relate to like the markets. Can you give me any good Donald Trump economic policy?
Any good Donald Trump economic policy? Yeah.
Yeah.
The specific policies I would say that are pretty good is him withdrawing from NATO, or not NATO, but the World Health Organization. I believe that's going to save us money in the long term, as well as I don't think that the World Health Organization has our best interests at heart.
Why so?
And
What you? Okay, so instead of like cutting like military spending or something like that, you want to cut like
why would you want to
specifically
cut military spending though?
because it's like there's lots of military spending that's like wasteful. If you want to
But
talk about wasteful spending, if you want to talk
I
about
would be
addressing the wasteful
100% for
spending,
that.
you would address that. Secondly, the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget indicated 4 trillion more debt-related spending for the first administration, for the Trump administration, comparative to the Biden-Harris administration. And secondly, the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget indicated the Trump administration campaign plans would cause more debt-related spending by 4 trillion over the next 10 years comparative to Harris's campaign plans. So if you cared about debt-related spending, if you cared about waste spending, if you cared about actually bringing money back here home to be able to help American citizens, right, then you wouldn't have voted for Donald Trump, who was clearly more wasteful.
I do agree. Granted, if everything you said is true, I do 100% agree with you. However, I do think that there are holes in that argument, specifically with how the money was made through Harris and Biden, and how it wasn't legitimate money and it was more due to inflation.
More due to okay, so you're saying that the Biden-Harris administration caused inflation? Is that your view?
I'm not
The
saying that
host is a,
they caused inflation.
the host is a
Then can you
communist.
restate? Can you restate your statement?
This communist doesn't understand jack shit.
Go ahead, not my
Are
name.
you,
You were saying?
are you referring to me? I don't understand. Because that's
I'm re-
probably true. What?
I'm referring to Parker. He's
Oh,
a
Parker.
communist that doesn't know jack shit.
You think Parker is a communist?
He's a communist
Why is he a communist?
because he supports liberals, liberal ideas.
Okay. Well, I disagree. I think that that you shouldn't label someone you don't know with something that is not true. However, with
Yeah, that's
my
exactly what Donald Trump did. He called us like radical left Marxists.
and I disagree. I don't think that either side, but I think that both parties doing that stuff, and I personally disagree with all that. Um, but as I was saying, what was the claim you wanted me to rebut?
Um, well, we can go back to what Dean was talking about because Dean got cut off by like the ban thing.
Yeah, I was
Oh.
just trolling. It's me. I'm just on my backup Connor Maga account.
Really, I didn't notice. I had no clue.
I was kind of banking with the guess when I know.
I
That's
feel like he
funny.
realized. I feel like he realized pretty easily.
Anyways,
That's-
what were we talking about before I was banned by TikTok?
That accent was amazing. That was actually like a real Maga accent too. Talk to you, bro.
All right. Is it time to move on?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you.
Dude, you remember that P3DO that came up on my life, Phil Young?
Oh yeah, gross.
He's like in my comment section on YouTube.
Block him.
Gross.
Block him.
The chat's giving him hell. Like
It better be.
I'm almost like enjoying like the fact that he's not blocked. So then my entire chat is just like making fun of him for his.
But you remember, like he kind of likes that, so like we should probably like block him because.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yo, what's up? How old are you?
Hello, I'm 19. How you guys doing?
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Why did you vote for Donald Trump?
I voted for him to bring manufacturing back to the country
Okay. What makes you think you'd bring back manufacturing?
with tariffs.
Okay. So you think that that's going to bring back a greater level of overall jobs or just in manufacturing?
Just in manufacturing,
Why do you only care about manufacturing?
because I think
Because
it's
you know that
critical.
those are lower wages on average compared to service sector jobs.
Well, I think it's more critical that we have a country that produces stuff rather than just have a million insurance companies.
You would also prefer an economy that has lower wages?
Well, if that's what it has to take, then yeah, I guess so.
Okay, well then why
Right.
do you want more production if it's going to entail lower wages?
Because for national security,
How is it national? How is that producing any national security if we put these different types of tariffs on our allies?
because we need to be able to produce our own ships, we need to be able to produce our own
Why?
cars.
They're our allies.
It doesn't matter. We still need to be able to produce stuff.
Why do we need to produce those things if our allies will be able to trade it to us?
So if we get into a war with China, South Korea builds
Our allies will be there, right?
Well,
Oh wait, you don't think that there are allies anymore?
there is no such thing as allies within countries.
Oh, so there's no allies in the world. We're not
There's
allied with
allies,
Canada.
but Germany and the Soviet Union were allies before World War II.
Hey, I have
and
a
look
question.
how that turned out.
Do you think we're allies with Canada?
We are allies with Canada, but that doesn't mean
You
it
just
can't
contradicted yourself, dude.
Well, that doesn't mean it
By the
can't
way,
change in the
I'd like to point
future.
out like such isolationist ideas are actually like really bad for the success of America.
How?
How a big reason why America is as successful as it is because of our engagement within global commerce. Like when we impose tariffs on every other country in the world and we promote ideas like we need to be doing it all ourselves, like we're just further regressing the state of our country. Like globalism, in a sense, is good because it allows us to focus on making the things that we're good at making, while allowing our consumers to be confident that they're getting the lowest prices they can. I do agree that like we should have isolated strategic isolationist policy to prevent a reliance upon like immoral means of production, like child labor, slave labor, etc. However, blanket policy to promote isolationism just because leads to like terribly ineffective outcomes for the economy as a whole, for the investors inside of the economy. That's why we've seen a lot of market crashes. And then for the productivity of the manufacturing sector, is now our manufacturing sector is being forced to produce things that we're not good at producing or we don't have the infrastructure to, which just leads to more inefficient outcomes from the market as a whole.
So I have a question for both of you guys, right? Do you guys think that there's no bad consequences to trade deficits? Do you think that there's any problem with trade deficits?
No, I don't.
No,
Do
I don't
you?
think there's a problem with a trade deficit. No,
Do
no,
you?
not in of itself.
I think it can be a
So you think
problem.
that a trade surplus is good, right?
I think that sometimes it can be good. Sometimes
So
it can be
when was
bad.
the biggest? When was one of the biggest trade surpluses in America?
Wait, if it sometimes
Before-
can be good,
before the Great
sometimes can be bad.
Depression.
Wait, if it sometimes can be good, sometimes can be bad, and there's no general trend, how can you associate it to be good or bad in any type of general context?
And then answer my question.
Well, can I answer Dean's question first? You're going to argue that the Great Depression was caused by overproduction
No,
and
no, I was just gonna say that one of the greatest trade surpluses we've seen in America was during the Great Depression. Now take it away, Parker.
Well, that doesn't correlate. I think the Great Depression happened due to the bank's failure to pay back the people that were borrowing money to buy stocks. I think that was a bigger problem rather than overproduction in farming. But what were you saying, Parker? What was your argument?
So again, if you don't have any general determination of whether or not trade deficits are bad or good, well then you can't use it as a standard to be able to determine whether or not they're bad or good, or be able to say like, oh, well, a trade deficit is bad.
Well, can I tell you why a trade deficit is bad? So,
Sure.
So you do think in general a trade deficit is
well,
bad?
in general, yeah.
I'm
Because-
actually
Okay.
curious what your reasoning here is. Why do you think a trade deficit is bad?
So when you think like when I buy sneakers from Vietnam, right? Let's just say I buy $200 sneakers from Vietnam. That $200 is going to foreign workers and the foreign company. And in general, we have a big trade deficit. So the government.
What's wrong with that?
Well, if millions and millions of people are doing that, that means that more money is outflowing of our economy than inflowing into our economy. So the government has to cover
Yeah,
that.
but we're getting goods into our economy
Well,
that we want.
if millions of people are buying foreign products, that is money going out of our country because
Okay.
the whole economy is about goods and services. So if I'm
Wait,
buying,
but we get goods.
no, can I explain?
That
If
makes
I'm
people's
buy-
lives.
If
So
I'm
again,
buying,
I just want you to know, if people are buying the goods, that means they value the goods more than they valued the money.
yeah, but
Do you
that
agree?
means
So
that
then, okay, so then why do you want to restrict
can you just
people
let me- can you
from
just let me
buying
finish?
goods they see to be more valuable than the money that they're giving?
Can you just let me finish for a second, please?
Okay.
If millions of people are buying goods from foreign companies, that means that money isn't flowing in the American company. If I'm buying sneakers from Vietnam, I'm giving my money to a Vietnamese company, not
Yeah.
an American company.
Well, why should they be restricted from doing that? If they
Because-
want to buy from a country around the world, why should they be restricted in doing that?
Because the
Not
government
everything
ha-
can be produced by American companies.
Because then that means if there's a trade deficit, the government has to cover that national gap of money.
No, they don't. That doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. What do you mean?
They have to borrow money from other countries. That's why
No,
China,
they don't. That trade deficits do not imply you have to borrow money. What are you talking about? Debt-related spending indicates that you need to borrow money. And who added more debt-related spending? The Trump administration. He influenced there to be $4 trillion more debt-related spending comparative to the Biden-Harris administration.
When there is more money flowing out, the government has to borrow money from other countries. That's why.
Why?
That's why China.
Why?
owns
Why
so
do they
many
have to
US
borrow
Treasury
money
bonds.
if there are more if there's more exports than imports? Why would they have to?
No, there's more imports than exports.
I said it incorrectly.
They have to borrow money, or else there's going to be problems. The dollar would fall. There'd be higher interest rates. We have to cover that national gap. That's why China owns so many.
Wait,
US
wait.
bonds.
Go
That's
back.
why
Go back. You
China
said there'd be
owns so many
higher interest
farmland.
rates. Wait. Go back. Say all those again. There would not be higher interest rates. What are you talking about?
If there is a shortage of dollars in the economy, yes, there would be higher interest rates.
No, that doesn't mean that there's a shortage of dollars.
If more money is outflowing than inflowing into our economy, there will be a shortage of dollars.
No, there won't. No, there's not a shortage. Is there currently a shortage of dollars?
Not now, because
Was there a shortage of dollars under the Biden-Harris administration? No, I thought you guys said there was
No.
too much inflation, too many dollars.
I never said there was too much inflation. I'm saying the government. the
Oh, and
reason
you
why
know,
there
you know
isn't-
what? Well, then are you just saying?
Can you just let me finish real quick?
Sorry, I
The re-
apologize.
The reason why there isn't a shortage of dollars is because the U.S. sells treasury bonds to countries like China and Japan that they have a trade deficit with.
Dude, it's just no, not at all.
That
Most
is
of our
true.
debt is held by American consumers here in America. Secondly, right, it is the case that if we look at the debt, more debt is not added because of a trade deficit, right? We get goods into our economy, right? That is totally fine. If people want to buy goods from other countries, that means they value the goods more than they value the money, which means that there is a benefit to the consumer. That's why they bought it. So why do you want to restrict people from having the freedom to buy goods from other countries?
For national security issues.
It's
important.
not national security. You making it more expensive to buy fucking sneakers, to get groceries is not for national security. It has nothing to do with national security. Targeted tariffs could be related, but that's not going to be the case if you do an overall tariff on practically every country around the world. You have no
Because
clue what you're talking about.
you
are
can
destroying.
subsidize-
You are destroying American business. You are destroying American workers. You're harming American consumers. You're benefiting the rich off of the backs of the workers. That's what you're doing, and you don't give a flying fuck about American consumers, about the American middle class. All you give a shit about is Donald Trump and his billionaire buddies. That's all you're doing. That's who this system benefits, is American businesses that are massive conglomerates, that have huge companies that are going to have reduced competition in the United States because it is the case that there are imposed tariffs to a greater extent. Because it is the case that companies that are smaller aren't going to be able to shift their production
American
quickly.
businesses more? American businesses moving abroad to pay
So think of the fuck
child
first.
slave labor, or American businesses?
Wait.
paying
Are you
military
saying the
workers?
tariffs on Canada are affecting slave labor? And secondly, if
Not-
you
not
put
on
tariffs,
Canada, but
wait, by
on
the way, if you
India
put
and
tariffs
China,
on the
yeah.
entire country, you're actually incentivizing lower labor standards so that they can continue to compete with American companies given the imposition of the tariff, right? Otherwise, you'd want to specifically put tariffs on companies, right, that specifically engage in that type of unfair business practice, right, insofar as that they wouldn't be able to actually even operate in the market in the first place. You have to impose it specifically on the business, not on the entire country. Otherwise, you're going to decrease labor standards.
No, targeting tariffs don't work. Baseline tariffs.
That is insane. I just explained to you why it was necessary. Please give me any response. Can you repeat to me what I just said, actually?
That you have to tariff, or not tariff, you have to punish the company rather than the country for
Why?
child labor, because it's going to lower labor standard or some bullshit you said. I don't know.
Yes, it will lower labor standards. Why? Because they want to continue to compete with American businesses given the imposition of the tariff.
Yeah, but the company should move to the U.S. or should invest in the U.S. After 2018.
They're not going to, right? Think about it this way.
no.
Think about it this way. It's through an executive order. The tariffs are through an executive order. That means you have 4 years of the production being in the United States more profitable. Then, in the next 4 years, because the economy was doing shit and someone else is put into the office, right, and Donald Trump isn't the candidate, those tariffs are going to be undermined, meaning the tariffs are going to go away and it's not going to be as profitable as it was, meaning it's going to be not a legitimate business decision or that makes actual sense for any businesses, especially that are small, to shift production to the United States given the 4 years. Secondly, right, it is the case that the tariffs, again, still lower the amount of jobs overall because of many of the American companies that rely on aspects of the production process that come from countries around the world, like materials that come from other countries around the world.
To just say tariffs
Agricultural
don't
goods,
work is a
labor.
lie. After Trump's steel tariff in 2018, there was over 30
Democrats
billion.
agree. You just said targeted tariffs don't work. That's a targeted tariff.
That is a target.
And the Democrats agreed with that targeted tariff.
Baseline tariffs are better because it brings in more federal revenue.
Okay, if you're
When
wait,
it's
no,
less
no,
complicated.
that's horrible.
Yeah,
No,
what do you mean
tariffs.
that's horrible. Baseline tariffs give him more
because the
federal
revenue mechanism is
Absolutely.
regressive by nature, and it's cost push in terms of inflation. It's going to cause inflation in terms of cost of production for American consumers,
And you don't
which
think
will negatively impact
and you
American
don't think
consumers.
trade deficits cause inflation?
No,
They,
I think
okay.
I
That's,
think if anything they're deflationary because
so,
they cause consumer goods to be less expensive.
no, they're inflationary because it causes companies to buy our treasury bonds.
No, that means there's more goods in the United States. If there's a trade
No,
deficit, that means that we're getting goods from their country and that
so wait,
we're. By the way, I just want to let you know when we're the largest economy in the history of the world and we're a consumer-based market and we're buying goods from other countries around the world, that is to be expected, given that we are the richest country in the history of the world and that they're going to be producing goods and sending it to us more than we're going to be sending goods to them, because it is the case that they won't be able to consume or demand our goods at the same rate we can consume or demand their goods. That's not an unfair relationship just because of that.
yeah, but it's important that we build our own stuff. It's important to have a commercial shipping industry. I think that's vital.
There's a trade deficit between me and my grocery store. Is that an unfair relationship?
No, but you're comparing.
No? Okay, well then trade deficits aren't bad, huh?
They are. You're comparing.
You know, we need to get rid of these trade deficits between
So-
us
so-
and our grocery stores.
So
I
have-
should be sending just as many goods to them as they're sending to me. No, I'm not a fucking grocery store. I don't have the
I
goods.
have a
I'm buying goods from the grocery store.
I have a question for you. Do you think that China does not buy treasury bonds and does not buy U.S. land due to the trade deficit?
It's not due to the has nothing to do with the trade
So
deficit.
why do they? Yeah, of course it is. The U.S. is.
How does that have anything to do with the
assets.
trade deficit?
Because that's what the U.S. gives in return due to the trade deficit. The
No.
U.S. has to cover that gap.
No. That's them deciding to buy from the United States. That's not in return. You're misunderstanding it. You think that there's like a deal done by the president of the United States, right, of both countries, or I mean, a president of the United States and the dictator of the other country to determine what specifically, right, should happen, right?
No trade deficit.
No, it's determined by the market.
How much money does the U.S. own in Chinese treasury bonds?
All the trade deficit means is that they are producing goods and we are consuming goods. That's it.
Yes, but the government has to cover that gap because there's
What?
more.
James, think of the $10. No, it doesn't. You have no clue what you're talking about. This is incoherent gibberish.
Yo, 1 second. Like, you understand? Like, a trade deficit isn't resemblant of any like thing real. It's kind of just like something that accountants use to understand how much we're buying from somebody else and how much that somebody else is buying from us. Like this gap only like really exists as like a number on paper. If that makes any sense, it doesn't really mean anything. I mean, it can sometimes be useful, but it like when you say like a government has to cover this gap, like I don't know.
You don't understand why? You don't understand why?
I wouldn't understand why a government would have to cover, quote unquote, whatever that word even means in this sense, a trade deficit. No.
Because people are buying foreign products. So all the money that you're paying for is going to foreign company in a foreign country. Foreign
That's also
workers.
not necessarily true. Like importers turn around and they sell those goods to American consumers, meaning that although the cost of the good baseline
Oh my God,
is
why did it cut down? It fell.
sent to another country, like no, it's like not. You still have your profit margin that's going to a U.S. company, and like
Yeah, but
I don't understand what they like. It should. Do you think that like U.S. producers should be like restricted from sourcing raw materials outside of the U.S.?
What raw materials? When you're
I
talking
could
about
give you like a billion examples, but I guess let's just do this one
lithium,
because this one is simple. Like Ford F-Series trucks are manufactured in America, but their engines are built in Canada. Like, should we restrict that?
but what minerals does Canada have to build the engine that the U.S. doesn't have?
You're not answering my question. Instead, you're asking me.
You should be building the engines in America.
Okay, so you'd be okay with enforcing that?
Yeah.
Okay, why? Like, what's the problem with the engine being manufactured in Canada?
Because it's better to build stuff in America.
Bay One, I have a question.
But better. in
Are
what
all the
sense?
products that you buy from America?
Oh no, it's not. It's not.
Why not? Why don't you just buy American goods?
Because there is an American product. Because American manufacturing isn't good enough. For that yet.
You're actively aiding and abetting the same issue that you say everyone else should be forced to abide by. Like you're literally saying, "Oh, we should be forced to buy American products," but you're not even buying them voluntarily yourself.
Yeah, can you turn on your camera real quick?
Can I what?
turn on your camera and show us the tag on your shirt?
It's probably Chinese, yeah. But
Wait, no, I want you to show us real
just,
quick. I want you to show us. Please turn your camera on.
just because I'm buying a Chinese shirt, just because I'm part of the system, doesn't mean I agree with the system.
Then buy a shirt from
Trump's your
America.
president
Why didn't
doesn't
you
mean
buy
you
a shirt
agree
from
with Trump.
America?
Well, because I don't know. I didn't look at the tag. It's probably Chinese, but I just bought my
Exactly.
shirt.
You thought that good was better. That's why you bought that one. It was better priced. It's better quality. That's why you bought it.
No, it's just I bought it because it was the first thing that came up on Amazon. That's why I bought it.
Then also, like, there's inefficiencies created by like isolationism as you're describing it. Consumers have less confidence in like future markets because they don't really know what's going to come after we start a trade war with the rest of the planet that causes a crash in the future market. Same things with like the markets that we observe on like the Nasdaq, S&P 500, etc., and the New York Stock Exchange. Those also go into the shitter because of reduction in consumer confidence caused by the implementation of these tariffs.
The market's gonna
and then
go
like
up anyways.
because the consumer confidence goes down, like consumer spending also does. That's why like JP Morgan is now projecting a recession this year. We also have like the potentiality of stagflation because it is the case that tariffs will create supply chain issues, or the less goods will be imported, or those goods will still be sold for a higher price to maintain profit margins. And like all these are really bad outcomes that like hurt American manufacturers. Not to mention a reduction in our own exports. A lot of American manufacturers and businesses are propped up and kept alive by their exports to other countries. When you start a trade war with the rest of the world then starts a trade war with us, and then our exporters crumble. And considering that, alongside the idea of like mass deportation, forcefully removing millions of people from the labor force, you really have like a continuity of policy that is projected and already has yielded incredibly negative outcomes for like American manufacturing, for the success of the American economy as a whole, which is actually even worse when we want to consider like the success or national security of our country. So, I mean, all things in all, even if your primary motivations in your vote for Trump was the success of the American economy and the security of the country, I might even argue that the American economy would have been more successful and our country would have been more secure if Harris was elected.
Okay, can I respond to that?
Yeah.
First thing first, what policy do you think Harris, and I'm genuinely asking, but what economic policy do you like more about Harris than you do like about Trump?
Well, I mean, like, I think the lack of blanket tariffs in every other country in the world under Harris's plan was good. But I mean, like, other economic policy would include the fact that she at least had something to address like a supply, a shortage in the supply of housing, and the fact that like rent has gone to the fucking moon, and now we live in a housing crisis. Donald Trump didn't do anything to address that. Then she also just like ran on tax cuts for 100 million American workers in the low and the middle class. Meanwhile, Donald Trump's economic policy in the grand scheme of things takes money from the poor and gives it to the rich and serves as a detriment to anybody making under $395,000 per year. And because we're at like pre-French Revolution levels of income inequity, I don't think that we should be furthering the divide. We should be trying to fix it, which is what Kamala Harris said, policy that would have took a step in the right direction to achieve said end goal for. But I mean, this is neither here nor there as it relates to a conversation about how Donald Trump's economic policy has crippled our country and crippled our manufacturing sector, and will continue to do so for the reasons I've already given. But Traceless, thank you so much for the $10 saying show him the CRBF comparison of Kamala Harris and Donald Trump's, showing her policies were economically superior to Trump's. I think you're talking about the cost. And yeah, that's another good concern. I mean, like Donald Trump is significantly more expensive for government expenditure compared to Harris, which again is like worse for the state of affairs.
Okay. Well, first of all, tariffs do work. You've seen it with the steel tariff in 2018.
Those actually hurt. Those actually hurt. They bankrupted American farmers.
He said the same. He said the same thing that I just like.
Oh,
just
Democrats
responded to.
supported it too.
Yes, Democrats also had steel tariffs, which is something that like Dean would be like he disagrees with. But like again, targeted tariffs.
Well, how many
targeted tariffs are also different than universal tariffs.
Yeah, targeted tariffs are like a bajillion times better than universal tariffs.
But how many targeted
even the
tariffs are we
targeted
gonna
tariffs
have?
led to bad outcomes. Like I want to make that one clear. Like those bankrupted American farmers.
We're going to have so many targeted tariffs. We're going to have to target the shipping industry. We're going to have to target the car industry. We're going to have to target the steel industry. We have.
Bro, I
way
wish
more
that we had Chinese cars in America. They're cool as fuck. We need.
No,
I think that we
but-
need more Chinese cars in America. I'd buy
But you
one.
understand why we can't have that, though.
I think
They
that we
would
should. Have you
destroy.
seen? Have you seen Speed's new whip?
Well, you can't just say, "Oh, it's cheaper,"
No,
for
no, it's sick.
consumers,
It's sick.
so we
It,
get
I
rid
mean,
of
it like
all the
dances and
jobs.
shit, dude. I want a dancing car.
No, I think it's important for
The car dances.
no. I think it's important that we do have some industries. I think it's important that we do build some stuff. And I feel like you can't have a million.
Did you know
targets
service
that-
sector jobs have higher wages than manufacturing jobs? So
Yeah.
you want Americans to have lower wages?
Although to have a better quality of life. If
That would be a lower quality of life if they have a lower
people had a
wage,
better
right?
quality of life,
Yeah, service sector jobs
the
have higher
past,
wages.
when you were
Service
building
sector
more
jobs have
stuff.
higher wages.
I feel like it's better to build cars and stuff than spreadsheets. Wouldn't that be better?
Service sector jobs have higher wages.
Oh, thank you for the $20
Yeah,
over.
and you
are
Thank you so
people
much for the
better off
love.
now than they were back then when we lived in a manufacturing economy? Were people better off now? The average age of people moving out of their parents' house is 27.
How do
Are
you
people
quantify?
better
How do you
off
quantify better off?
You think people are better off than their parents? Be honest. Do you think that this generation is better off than their parents?
I think they're headed towards being worse off in certain scenarios and better off in certain scenarios. Like for
what
example,
scenario
if we look
better?
at real GDP, real median wages, it's objectively higher now than it was then.
most
And that's accounting for inflation. Okay,
most
but there are
Gen Z
certain
people
things
own-
that
own
certain
houses.
industries that have become worse, and as it relates to education, as it relates to housing, things like that. Right, those things have become worse, and Donald Trump actually is going to make that significantly worse, not better.
It's because of what type of economy we live in. A financialized economy. We sell all our land because we have to make up for the national gap. If we lived in a manufacturing economy,
But
people
listen, manufacturing wages, like I said multiple times, this is from a conservative economist. Manufacturing wages are lower than wages
Okay,
of service
I
workers. So
I
if
have a
you want
question
to
for you.
push people from service jobs into manufacturing jobs, you're going to lower their wages.
I have a question for you. Which European country has the best wages?
I don't know.
Probably Germany. And which European country?
I don't even think that's
manufactures-
true.
Which European? Well, probably Switzerland or a micro country, but Germany is a big country. Which European country has the best manufacturing?
That's
Germany.
me. I don't know.
Germany has the best manufacturing.
I don't, these
So
are
just say-
how are those related? They also have the highest level of they have a higher level of immigration than we do. Did you know per capita Germany takes in more immigrants?
Well,
So are you saying that we should take in more immigrants?
Trump has? Well, isn't Trump
Are
expanding?
you saying that in order to be able to have properly working manufacturing, we need to take in more immigrants?
Isn't Trump expanding the H-1B visa programs? Or am I
That's
wrong?
not having more immigrants. Donald Trump compared to Kamala Harris, you agree that would lead to
And
less.
isn't Trump
Would
deportation levels
is Donald
less
Trump
than
going to lead to?
Biden's?
Wait, who's going to lead to less immigration? Donald Trump or Kamala Harris?
I don't know. Trump's expanding the H-1B visa program. Harris isn't in office. I'm just going based on what's right now.
You really
Who's
can't use your brain cells. Are you against H-1B visas?
No.
Then what was your point of saying that? That you know
Well,
that
Trump- is
Kamala Harris
Trump-
also agrees with H-1B visas.
But Trump's expanding the H-1B visa program. Biden didn't.
What's his
And-
expansions?
Oh yeah, what expansion?
The gold card.
Oh, shut the fuck up,
Is
dude.
that not an
Go
expansion?
fuck yourself.
Bro, Cope.
Shut up.
Wait, I want to clarify. So, do you think that gold card holders come to America on an H-1B?
Oh, God damn it, dude.
No, that was a joke.
Okay,
But-
all right. So then, what are his expansions to the H-1B visa program?
Him and Musk have openly talked about expanding the H-1B visa.
Okay, so what are if it was openly discussed, what are the proposed expansions?
I think it's bringing it from, what is it, 60,000 this year, and then also adding green card diplomas on college graduated students.
So again, immigration.
Well, what was Harris's policy on
Is
immigration?
it possible that I could hear a
The
response?
policy-
Is it possible I could hear a response?
I don't see anything about Trump expanding H-1Bs. I do remember when he said that he approved of them, but he never advocated for expansion. I'm pretty sure that you just made what you just set up.
He definitely did. Hey,
is
let me
he
say thank
not-
you to some people real quick. Callie, thank you so much for the $15. Nakia, thank you so much. I appreciate the $2. Lillian, thank you for the $5. Doll, thank you for the $5. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Elise with the $50. Thank you so much. Sid with the $5. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that's based. Sydney, thank you for the $5. Jennifer, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Alyssa, thank you so much for the $5 for happy birthday, Parker. Thank you. Pink, thank you for the $6.66. Lacey, thank you so much for the $2. Dawn, thank you for the $15. James with the $10. Kathleen, thank you so much. I appreciate the $5. Lindsay with the $5. Isabel, thank you so much for the $1. And Linda with the $20 on PayPal. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Go ahead.
Wasn't there an H-1B policy on January 17, 2015 to change the program up a bit? Or am I wrong?
Under the Obama administration.
And didn't he expand the cap from...
Oscar,
Under
thank you for
the
$11
Obama
for
administration?
something,
No, this was
Casey, thank you for the $20 for happy
this is
birthday,
in
Parker. We love
January
watching
17th.
it. Thank you.
17th, 2025. That's when he expanded or tweaked the
You
program.
just said 2015.
I meant
First week,
2025.
Alex. Thank
Sorry.
you.
Wait,
And
January
also,
17th?
January 17th,
That was under
2025. That's Biden.
That was under Biden's admin, bro.
I guess, yeah.
Come on, bro.
But
Come
no,
on.
he has
Come
to-
on,
You
bro.
cannot make this shit up, Chad.
You can't make this shit up. Yeah,
has-
that was Kamala Harris right there, sir.
No, it was Biden.
Oh, well, both Kamala Harris and Biden said that Kamala Harris was instrumental to the policy passed by the administration.
Trump has signaled that he does want to expand.
Sid, thank you so much for the $50 donation over on YouTube Super Chat. Thank you for the love, Sid. Sid
And
says
it-
haven't donated to Dean yet today. Felt weird. Well, Sid, thank you so much for the love.
He
By the
did
way, I'm
say-
gonna run after this conversation. I gotta go make girlfriend for the dinner. Wait, can I make girlfriend for the dinner?
Dean, that's gonna get clipped.
gotta make
That's
dinner.
gonna get clipped.
Gotta make dinner for the girlfriend. Is what I meant to say.
Dean, that is gonna
I'm
get
gonna
clipped.
do some lemon chicken, okay? All right? Lemon chicken, all right? With a little bit of asparagus and some mashed potatoes, all right? All right? And some mozzarella sauce, okay?
But Trump has talked about allowing college graduated students to get green cards, and he has talked about expanding the H-1B.
He has unironically deported college students here on legal forms of residence.
Well, no, I don't. I don't
remember
agree with that.
remember
I don't agree
the
with
student that he had black bagged in the middle of the street and then shipped over 1,000 miles away, ignoring a court order saying that they had to
I
wait
have a
48
question for
hours. Really?
So far, who's deported?
Heidi, thank you so much for the $20 over on PayPal. I do appreciate you.
Can you
Love
answer
Heidi.
this
Everybody,
question
please
real
show some
quick?
love to Heidi down below in that comment section. You're gonna ask me who has higher deportation numbers. Pretty sure it's
Biden or
Biden
Trump
Harris
per month
administration.
so far?
Biden,
Who
bro.
had higher deportation numbers so
Biden.
far?
Biden.
Biden did, yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Who's violated more rights of the immigrants? I don't know,
Also-
man. I didn't see Biden institute the Alien Enemies Act. I didn't see Biden ignore court orders. I didn't see
But I'm
Biden
looking at the
push
numbers.
legislation such as the Lake and Riley bill through Congress to deport an individual on the basis of an accusation of a violent crime in the absence of due process. All I'm going to say is this: I actually think that Democrats don't have it right on immigration either. I'm further left than the Democratic Party. However, Kamala Harris was significantly better than Trump when it came to immigration policy.
So, I think I know your policy. You believe in endless immigration because
Yeah, essentially, but with filtering or screening individuals for prior violent offenses.
because in a liberal society, people don't have enough babies, so you need to immigrate from illiberal societies. You need people to move in from illiberal societies, and you just need to continue.
It's not just people living from. It's people moving from anywhere they want to come from.
Yeah.
Well, in general, liberalism doesn't really, encourage baby making. Liberal societies have low fertility rates.
Wait. The higher the
wait,
quality
are
of
you
life
sa-
is
how
in
are
a
you
country,
saying-
the higher the quality of life is in a country, the lower their fertility and birth rates are. So I think it's funny that you relate liberalism to higher quality of lives.
Well, most developed countries are liberalized. Yes, that's true, but that doesn't mean it's good.
It
Oh,
literally
okay.
causes
So
higher quality of
higher
life.
quality of life is bad.
Well, that's not because of liberalism.
Oh, okay. What is it because of?
Monitoring.
Wait. So then falling birth rates aren't because of liberalism.
Yeah, it is.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's because of higher qualities of lives. So you either have to say that it's the liberalism that's causing the higher qualities of lives, which is causing a reduction in birth rates, or it's that it's not
True.
because of liberalism, which means it's not because of increases in qualities of life.
Well, when people have better quality of life, they turn towards liberalism because they like to have endless sex, they like to smoke drugs, they like to do
Jocelyn, think the
other
$5.
degenerate activities. That.
You don't like
Drugs.
sex?
Oh, I'm waiting for marriage.
I'm sorry for your loss.
That's what I
Tim,
just.
Tim, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. I appreciate. Actually, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for. Actually, you know what? That's better for humanity.
I think
$20. Thank you so much.
In my opinion, I think it is important.
I might argue that incel
no,
behavior is not.
Waiting until marriage is
No,
incel behavior.
I mean that's not incel behavior because it's voluntary for him to wait till marriage. But like the point I was saying is that like then he just
Is
you know
it?
no woman has to go through that experience.
Is it
You
voluntary?
know what I mean? That's preferable. Correct?
I don't think that's voluntary.
Is it voluntary? I mean, okay, I mean, I probably would say. I mean, maybe not. You know.
Bro, dude, I can't. It's still so crazy to me that the alt-right like shitheads have just like come to terms with the fact that no woman wants them. So they'd like proudly call themselves incels. I will never understand why they're so proud about like not being able to get within 50 feet of anybody that would possibly sleep.
No,
with them.
I've been in relationships before, but I haven't had sex before. I am waiting for marriage before sex. I don't believe in like
Thank you for preserving anyone from that.
arranged marriage and stuff.
Hey man,
But that's
on a
not-
real note, dude. You know, like I respect your preference there, but like simultaneously, I think it is like good to not do that. And the reason that I say that is because you'll want to like have some sexual experience under your belt before you get into a marriage, so you as well as your partner
That's just
know
my
what
that's
to
my
expect
personal belief.
from a sex
I
life.
respect your personal belief. I don't encourage you to have the wait till marriage, but that's my personal belief, just to wait till marriage.
Yeah, we're just saying the
And
personal
that's
belief.
not
We're
gonna-
just saying the personal belief that it's better to know like that you guys are on the same terms for those types of things before.
No, and I'm gonna hopefully marry someone with my beliefs, and maybe it will change. I'm a young kid, maybe as I grow older, maybe I'll change. But just I personally believe that waiting till marriage is better, and it's good for society.
That's all you, but that shit's great.
And I feel like we should have a society that does, believe in God, and
I'm good.
makes people feel.
I'm good. I'm good.
Wait, we could talk about this real quick. About a society that believes in God. Well, okay. Are you arguing that society should believe in God because it will produce better outcomes? for
Yeah,
the
and
society? Okay, here's my counter argument to that position. Well, what if a religion that you don't hold to produces better outcomes than the one that you do?
I'm not just saying my religion. I'm not saying
would you say if like being a Mormon produce better outcomes than like being like a non-denominational Christian, that everybody should be Mormon?
Well, if you look at it, the U.S. has higher suicide rates than Yemen.
Would you answer my question?
Well, I don't know. I don't know much about the Mormon religion.
I'm saying if it produced better outcomes than non-denominational Christianity, Orthodoxy, Catholic, the Catholic
Catholicism.
faith, Catholicism, etc., then would you say that everybody in America should be Mormon?
I'm saying everyone should have their own religious belief, but there should.
Okay. So if your reasons, then your reason's not that it produces a better quality of life.
It does absolutely.
Oh, well, okay. If that is your reason, then you'd want everybody to be Mormon. If Mormonism produced better outcomes than any other branch of Christianity or any other religion, so far as average qualities of life.
Well, Christianity is true. That it isn't. Christianity.
Oh, okay.
is
So
good.
then it's not the case that you want everybody to be religious because it produces better outcomes, but rather because it's true.
Well, Christianity is true. It is true. Shrouded.
So now your
Shroud of
argument's changed.
God.
Now your argument's
And then
changed.
also,
sir.
20 people went to
Okay,
death.
so
saying that-
if your argument is that everybody should be Christian because Christianity is true, well then I'll just merely argue that nobody should be Christian because Christianity is not true.
what's not true about it?
It's impossible for a perfect God to create the world that we live in.
20 people went to death saying that Jesus was the real God.
Do you want to respond to what I just said?
What did you say? Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, it's impossible for a perfect God to create an imperfect world.
No, God believes in free will. That's
Well, okay.
You
So
know,
does
if I
does God have free will?
yeah, God has free will.
Did God have a
God-
choice?
God-
Did
God is
God have a,
good.
hold up? Did God have a choice to create the world or to not create the world?
God created the world. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so he had a choice. So he chose to go from a state in which was perfect, him existing alone, to a state in which is imperfect, him plus creation, right? He went from a flawless world to a flawed world. Isn't that like contradictory because he would have desired a world that's less desirable?
No, he gave us the chance to live.
No, you didn't listen to what I just said. If it's flawed, it's less desirable than flawless, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was flawless when God existed alone. It was flawed when God existed plus creation.
Okay.
So
Hey.
God chose to go from a flawless state to a flawed state.
Well, because there's good and evil. and they're constantly battling each other.
I'm gonna go ahead
and
and hop off for the night. I just thought I'd let you know I'm gonna go ahead and drop down.
For sure.
Gotta go make the girlfriend some dinner. So for everyone watching on YouTube, head over to Parker's stream at Parker Get a Job on TikTok, or sorry, on YouTube, or at Parker. Let's see what the ad is on here.
Parker
At
Get a Real Job on
Real
TikTok.
Job
I
on TikTok.
recommend go to I recommend go to YouTube. It's way better.
And I'm gonna go ahead and drop for the night, you guys. I do apologize for the short stream today. I mean, that's just because we got banned earlier, and I could stay on late, but my girlfriend got the day off, so I'm gonna go hang out with her. And then also Parker, happy birthday, man! Everybody, make
Thank
sure
you,
you're
man.
showing some love to Parker for his birthday, you guys. And I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. Peace out, everyone.
Have a good night, man.
You as well.
Let me say thank you to some people real quick, everyone. Lindsay, thank you for the $5. Kathleen, thank you so much for the $5. James, thank you for the $10. Dawn with the $15. Thank you so much. Linda, thank you for the $20. Thank you so much. Kelly with the $10. Heidi, thank you so much for the $20. And Patricia, thank you so much for the $23. Thank you for all the birthday wishes, everyone. Can we get some fucking W's for people in the comment section who just were donated? And Sydney with the $75 on Venmo. Thank you so much. Can we get some W's for Sydney in the comment section right now for the $75? That is nuts. W's for Sydney in the comment section right now. Thank you so much, Sydney.
Okay,
You
can
go
I
ahead.
respond to your-
Go
can I
ahead.
respond to your point?
Go ahead.
God gave us free will, and He gave us, the ability to have free will, the ability to choose right or wrong. And if God gave us a perfect society, we couldn't be able to strive to be better people. And I have a question for this: if God's
Wait,
not
but that just doesn't respond to my point. You agreed that it is the case that a flawed existence is less desirable than a flawless existence. God existing alone is by definition a flawless existence if you think that God is perfect. So he went from a flawless existence of him existing alone to a flawed existence of him plus creation. Therefore, he went from a more desirable state to a less desirable state, which is contradictory because you can't say that God desired to go from a state in which is more desirable to a state in which is less desirable, because you can't desire something in which is less desirable.
But why would God create a perfect society? Because then we wouldn't be able to, we wouldn't have freedom, and we wouldn't be
Was that a
able
response to my argument?
No.
Contradictory for a perfect God to choose to go from a flawless state to a flawed state.
He did it to give us souls for free will. He did it for free will. If
He had free will already. God is free will. When God existed alone,
I have a question for you. You're atheist?
I'm agnostic atheist, yeah.
So do you believe in a higher being, or no?
No.
Not at all?
Nope.
So how do we have things like empathy? You just think that's brain chemistry?
Biology.
You think that, but what survival skills is empathy? How we have a soul.
It was developed as of evolutionary significance. That descriptively.
What other animals have empathy?
Dolphins, elephants.
Two people outside their family?
Huh?
Two people not their newborns or anything? They
Yeah,
have other
yeah.
animals?
Mm-hmm. Crows, gorillas,
No.
dogs. Do you think dogs have empathy for you?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay, then shut the fuck up.
But I don't know. You have a soul, and I don't know if I can't argue, but you have a soul. And I just think that if you look at
It says your live content contains themes that some may find uncomfortable. Okay, I have to kick you from the live because it will restrict the live. V, thank you so much for the 10 Canadian dollars. Happy birthday. Thank you so much, Aries World Domination, for real. Amara, thank you so much for the $50 for Grateful for Your Voice. Happy birthday. Yo, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Give some W's for everyone in the comment section right now. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. W's for them in the comments. W's for them in the comments. Let's get this next person up here. Only sent a guest request. Did vote for Donald Trump. Yo, what's up? How old are you?
22 years old.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
I did, yes. And I know y'all are coming to Texas A&M April 22nd. I'm excited for that. I'm going to come up to you guys. I'm going to say hello because we ran into each other before. Yeah, Maga.
I did? Where did we run into each other?
On this app.
Oh, on this app. Okay.
Yeah,
I
I
was
can't wait
like,
to
in
see you
person?
guys, dude. It's going to be a dream come true. Seriously.
Yeah, we can debate in person too.
Dude, I'm so about it.
I'll get some YouTube content.
Yeah, dude, you can clip me all you want. I'm up for it.
Okay, you're trolling. You're trolling.
No, deadass, I'm being for real, Parker. I can't wait for you guys to pull up.
Yeah, I'm serious. I'm
I
serious.
did
That's
vote
gonna
for
be,
Trump.
It's gonna be really fun. Like genuinely, it's gonna be fun to be able to like see so many people in the space, right? Who are left wing and whatnot.
Sorry, it's my baby. Have you ever been to Texas A&M, or you personally?
Never.
Well, I know there's a rap that's like super conservative, and I'd say it's true compared to other colleges in Texas. But I mean,
It's gonna be great for content. I will debate anyone there.
it's gonna be good. But I think you're gonna have a lot more supporters than you might be led to believe out there, or out here, I should say. I'm out here right now. But
Yeah,
dude.
the main point of it is to respond to Charlie Kirk's lies.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be so. Oh my gosh, I can't wait, dude. I cannot wait, Parker. Seriously. But I did vote for Trump. I'm not fucking with you.
So why'd you vote for Donald Trump?
Pardon my language. I voted for Donald Trump because I'm a God-fearing American.
Here, I might have you go take care of your kid right now because it does sound like you have to take care of your kid.
I'm changing
But
his diaper.
I'll make sure to look out for you for future times and hope to see you at Texas so we can debate.
Yeah, Parker, can't wait, man. MAGA.
See you then.
Hail Trump.
Okay, they're totally trolling. They're totally trolling. They said hail Trump at the end. They're totally trolling. Come on. Come on. They were totally trolling. Water dude, thank you for the $4.44 for 4 years of wishing you happy birthday. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, W Fetus. W Fetus. Megan, thank you for the $10. Melanie, thank you so much for the $25. And Nicole, thank you for the $10. Thank you for the happy birthday wishes, y'all. All right, let's get this next person up here. Alrighty, let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates.
Happy birthday to you.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Let's get this next person up here. Only send a guest request if you did vote for Donald Trump. We are just looking for some debates. How old are you?
Hey, Parker, what's up?
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Did you vote for Donald Trump?
Yes, I did. And I want to say, I know we don't agree on the same views, political, but I do want to say I wish you a happy birthday, man.
Appreciate